You're listening to the Super League Pod, coming up on episode 156 of your favourite Rugby League podcast. Tom and Mark are here with all your feedback and shout-outs, news from around the world of Rugby League, a loving look back at round 3 of the Super 8, as well as previewing and nervously anticipating the Challenge Cup final between Wigan Warriors and Hull FC this weekend. Strap yourselves in, kids. It's time for your podcast, the Super League Pod. Now then, listeners, welcome along to episode 156 of the Super League Pod. As always, Tom and Mark here to bring you a comprehensive view of everything that's been going on in not just English Rugby League, but around the world. Mark, how's tricks?
Hello, Tom. Are you well?
I'm exceptionally well. I'm here on a Monday evening. I'm well hydrated. I'm not hungover. My electrolytes are perfect.
You do look quite...
I've trimmed my beard. I think
excited,
that's
how... Oh, well, Emma did question the size of your beard on one of your weekend selfies. She was disappointed she missed you at the 40.
Well, I said to my Emma as we were parking up with the kids that I said there's every chance we're going to bump into Mark and Emma at this point. We were there Saturday afternoon for about an hour and a half.
Yeah, she was there Saturday afternoon with her dad though.
Right.
I let her have that one.
You let her have that one, did you?
And suffered through all the sport instead at home.
Oh, you're just a devotee to your cause, aren't you? That's the thing. But to explain what Mark's talking about this weekend, we normally talk about our weeks, don't we? This weekend, my Emma and I and the kids went to what is now an annual 40s weekend that they hold here in Lytham, where we're based, and they reenact a battle from the Second World War, and they have old vehicles to look at, and actually it's growing year on year, and there was much more interactive stuff to do, so it was great to take the kids down because there was all sorts of exhibits about life in the 1940s, which was impressive mind-blowing from my point of view, never mind the children's. I got a lovely picture of Ariel in a hand grenade, which I think I'll make my screensaver on my phone. But it was brilliant. So but since that selfie's been taken, I've had a bit of a trimmer and a smart.
Yeah.
My Emma doesn't mind particularly. She says she likes it long and scraggly, and she likes it smart and tidy. But it was just getting a bit irritating more than anything else. So I've smartened it up for a little while, and we'll see how we do.
Good lad.
There you go. This week in beards. What about yourself? How's your week been?
Okay. Watched a lot of sport over the weekend.
Lucky you.
Clean the oven. It wasn't an exciting weekend.
That sounds like a go. I don't know. I could have a go on that weekend. That'd be alright.
Yeah,
very good.
That's right.
What's coming up on the Super League Pod this week then, Mark?
Well, we have got the answer to the question about what Dave Cantrell was on about beer sponsorship last week, which is good. And all your other shout-outs and feedback too. We not loads of news, but we'll fly through that and talk a bit about some scumbag in the crowd at Canberra.
Oh, yeah.
We will get into the game reviews, headlined by Fatboy Rob joining us on the line to give us his take of the League Leaders Shield win and what it meant for him and for Cass and sort of where he sees this team and looking forward to the big day out at the end of the season to see Cass's fortunes. Looking forward to that. All the other games will be covered, throw in some results from around the world of rugby league with quite a bit of feedback thrown in across. And
Super.
Then
have we got a quiz this week?
Then we're going to preview the Challenge Cup final.
Oh, of course, yeah, there is a game.
Give our picks, read out some things that we've had from the listeners today. I sent a late-ish notice tweet out, getting your views, getting your predictions sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And then we do have a quiz. The quiz is Challenge Cup final themed, so get excited. I know you've probably been doing some swatting up, and I think you might still fail.
No, I haven't. Do you know what? I've not had time at work to be able to be here today. I've had to work my little cotton socks off, so I haven't even had time to really do a research. This will be horrific.
Okay.
So there you go. Right, well, let's get straight on with it then in the feedback and shout-outs. And as you alluded to, what's Dave Cantrell been saying?
We start with a couple of emails from Dave. His first one was about just the Super 8s overall. He said, the 8s seem to work pretty well overall, with most teams having something to play for. The top 8 are obviously playing for home semis or to get into the semis. The qualifiers are playing for promotion or to avoid relegation. Likewise, the bottom 8 from the Championship and the top half of League One are doing that. But the bottom half of League One, There's nothing to play for, and this is reflected in attendances. I'd leave well alone mostly, but there needs to be something at stake for those bottom 8 clubs' games to mean anything. I know, having spoken to like the guys, the All Golds fans, I know they were really excited about the prospects of a race for the Championship Shield final and seeing if they could compete with one of the Northern clubs or two of the Northern clubs in that race. And so I think for some of the sides there is, but obviously there's also a lot of stuff that's a little bit more, like where do you really see Coventry, Oxford? What have they got out of the last few games, and what's to come? I suppose. Yeah. I'm not sure if attendances have suffered too much of a hit. I'm not sure attendances are impressive amongst those clubs as it stands.
Perhaps are by degrees in terms of framed expectations.
I would have to look into that. Doing.
I think there's definitely a case to be argued that tentatively there are some green shoots in terms of some of the players that are coming out of that area. I know we were talking about Oxford and Coventry, but I will also throw Gloucestershire into that with their coach, who's done remarkable work with some of by sticking to that kind of framework of using younger local players and not going on duress. There are some positives out there, but I do sort of take the point that at the bottom of most leagues, once you get to the bottom of things where there is no peril, if there is no relegation, then sometimes these things do run their course. But if there's what do you think to the idea of perhaps having relegation from League One and bringing up an NCL team or something like that?
I think we would have to think very carefully about it, because I think some of those community club amateur sides, whatever you might call them, might love to shove 2 fingers up to a club that's been brought in by the RFL, sort of, that they feel have been done over by, but at the same time they know that they're never going to and probably don't want to compete with the likes of Hunslet and Keighley. So I think whereas the expansion sides have that sort of commitment and drive to compete, if they can afford to, if they can get the formula right. I'm not sure the likes of your Siddles and your Wiggins and Pats or what have you really have that drive to be the next step. In all honesty, but there are clubs like Manchester Rangers who have that drive. So and a side like Coventry and a side like Hemel both had that drive. So it's if you just have promotion and relegation, I'm not sure that would be ideal between community clubs and clubs striving to grow to be something. I don't know. It's an interesting thing.
Fair enough. He goes on to talk about booze sponsorships then, because we questioned what his problem was, didn't we?
Yeah, it did occur to me in one of our breaks last week what he meant, but we'd lost the flow, so I didn't want to go back to it. But he explains it way better than I probably would have at the time anyway. He said, "My problem with booze sponsorship deals is that it invariably reduces the quality of the booze available at stadiums. I went to a few matches in the ICC Champions Trophy this summer and the beer was just shit because the ICC sponsors had exclusive rights. Same ground a few weeks later for a county match and there were dozens of good local beers on sale. Similarly, at the Union World Cup, grounds that normally had good beer just served Heineken pish. The RFL getting into bed with an industrial cider manufacturer guarantees that there won't be any good cider at their events, and individual clubs that have beer sponsors invariably get shit beer too. When was the last time you had a decent pint at the John Smith Stadium, for example? Likewise, when you watch Union Harlequins, who were sponsored by Green King."
Which is a great point. However, St Helens have got their own beer sponsorship, and Saints Gold is a lovely drop.
Yeah, and to be fair, Wigan have started getting in with a local brewery and getting something a bit more real ale-y on the stalls. So there is development there, and I think clubs are looking at ways to please and sell and to all fans and looking for new sponsorship opportunities. The blue chip kind of deals, I think, is where Dave's more focused at, because Dave obviously regular down at the Scholars, who have the sort of real ale kind of set up there, don't they? And Green King can fuck off. I just think Green King IPA needs to be picked up for its clear and blatant
not being an IPA. It's horrible.
Yeah. What's the words I'm looking for?
I'm not sure. I don't know how disparaging you're looking to be.
Misrepresenting its.
There's a trading standards issue, isn't there?
Yeah.
With it purporting to be an IPA and it clearly isn't.
Yeah. There you go. Anyway.
Look at us. This is in danger of turning into a very hipstery fucking portion of the podcast where we talk about things purporting.
I'm sure we won't get much great beer inside Wembley Stadium on Saturday.
I suspect not. Although I am hoping that the little Tinkers turn out with their shopping trolley laden with bargain booze offerings again. And keep the costs down once we get to Wembley.
Well, I'm sure we'll be able to nip in the Sainsbury's now that they have below the library and drink on the outdoors area as long as it's a sunny day.
On the quiet, my plan had been to nip to Booths and pick up a few little tins and put a little cool bag for us for on the way down. But we need to talk about our plans for getting down to London.
We'll sort that out off air after the show.
Excellent. Who else has been getting in touch?
Phil Nadin, he said, another great episode. As long as Tom predicts a whole loss in the Challenge Cup, all will be fine.
Well, I didn't give anything away, but I think you might know which way I'm swinging based on this weekend's results. Phil Nadin and his missus and Callie were in the thatched house in Portland-le-Fyle on Saturday evening, and if I had noticed it on Facebook when they checked in an hour or two earlier, I would have hopped in the car and come down, because I was only up in Thornton at the time, and I was gutted. I noticed where they were, they'd checked in, I thought, oh, they'd probably gone, because they were waiting to go for a meal or something by the looks of the post. And if I'd seen it in time, I'd have hopped in the car and driven 10 minutes and surprised them. What a great way to start your weekend. Surprise Tom.
Well, we'll hopefully run into him on this Saturday, much further away from our roots.
Absolutely.
David Powell at St David 2911 said, now then lads, can't make the grand final this year, I'm in Nepal.
Oh right, he's in Nepal. I thought he was just misinformed about what the location was.
But my tip would be town centre for the food and drink festival and then a tram. And Lee Whitnell said, I have grand final tickets and definitely up for a Super League pod meet-up, should make up for the inevitability of sitting in the Leeds end.
Oh God, can you imagine?
I think we need to come up with a plan, formulate a plan with over the next month or so for that, definitely. Alan Walker, at Alan Paul Walker, he said, yet another great app, maybe the pressure of being benched by the coach. By the way, Germans don't make fruit beer, it's RL Heartland, Belgium. I think when it was spoken about, it wasn't. I got the sense it wasn't fruit beers like Fruly or what have you.
Right.
It was fruit in beers, like putting a strawberry in a beer.
Who does that?
Well, I've had that in Germany. That's why I mentioned Germany. Like I rocked up to Germany one time. These friends sort of house, and they were having a barbecue when I rocked up, and they were all like handing out beers with
pieces of fruit
with strawberries in them. And I was like, well, what's going on here? Can I just have a beer, please?
Well, we once at a mutual friend's house where they served us wine with jam in the bottom of it. Was it Prosecco with they'd made this? Do you recall? Maybe you weren't there, I don't know. I seem to remember being at a friend of ours' house and being given...
You're going to have to be more specific.
Well, it was Jane and Steve, to be honest.
Right.
And Jane had made this kind of... What was meant to be like this sort of curranty sort of raspberry thing, coolie type thing, to go in the bottom of the champagne or Prosecco or whatever it was. But it just looked like she was spooning homemade jam in.
I've seen people do that, so it might have been the same occasion.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
But either way,
it seems unnecessary.
Jane is very much due.
Yes, I believe.
Baby's coming soon.
Yes.
But that's no interest to anyone else listening to the show.
Back to the show. Fruit and beer, bad.
Alan, obviously... being in Barcelona, we checked in with Alan and he said none of his family had been caught up in the tragic events there, but obviously it'll have affected him and his family, and everyone it's affected. Obviously our sympathies go out to anyone who's lost anyone in another horrendous incident in our world these days.
Just stay safe and keep looking after each other, everyone. Mark Wilco.
Yes, at Wilco2205 if you want to get around him on Twitter. He said 18 minutes in and we've already had 2 references to the World Cup squad. So, time for the question again. Who would your 17 be? On that note, if we're looking for a right centre who can defend and play with Jerry, is Cudjoe not in the mix, being very good when not injured? Yeah, I would say the last 3 words of that sentence are the important ones. When not injured. I don't feel like I've ever seen him running freely all year, really. I just don't see him in the bigger picture for that World Cup squad this year because of that, even though obviously they have a good working relationship and Cudjoe works really hard in defence. He puts in a shift as much as he can. I'd say it's not always like glorious defence, but it's battling defence for a centre, like much more so than say a Callum Watkins. But yeah, interesting. 17s for the World Cup. Well, I penned one. So, would you like me to do mine now and then? Well, I was thinking it'd be a good topic to roll out for the listeners to get them to send in their World Cup starting 17s for the game in Melbourne. Okay. that kicks off the World Cup for England. So then next week, when we've obviously got less games to talk about, we can go on a deep dive into the to use corpo talk from the office into the World Cup squad. But do you want to give us your 17 as second food for thought?
Let's whet the appetite.
Yeah.
I'll just pop over here to the mantelpiece and lean over